is this something like these types of guidelines that you're describing? Is that a normal thing that you would see in other tech companies that have these big social platforms? Is this a regular practice?
I think having guidelines about when you can boost content and how you can boost content is definitely normal in all of these companies. What's abnormal about TikTok, as far as we know, is that there is a button that a bunch of employees can press to make something go viral. And my understanding is that other companies, there is not such a button. And to the extent that content can be sort of artificially promoted by the platform, it is very heavily regulated and difficult to do. And what makes heating interesting to me, one of the reasons that heating is interesting to me, is that so many individual employees at TikTok and ByteDance have had the discretion to make these decisions. And it doesn't necessarily seem like there's some central clearinghouse that makes sure that heating decisions are made internally consistently.
So we're in a moment where there is a national conversation and lawmakers in the Senate and the House are talking about banning TikTok. It's been banned on government phones, and a lot of state governments are rallying around banning it on state devices. What does this conversation about heating and these revelations that TikTok employees can kind of press a button and make anything go viral, what does that mean for the questions around TikTok being a national security risk?
We don't have any direct evidence that heating has been used to try to influence public discourse or civic discourse in the United States, but it is absolutely a thing that could be used to try to influence public discourse in the United States. And so if I worked at TikTok and was trying to make sure that didn't happen, I would want to know exactly who has access to the heating tool, who has used the heating tool, and every piece of content that's been heated. And I would want to have a central way of making sure that the heating tool is not misused in a way that could influence elections. And it sounds from our reporting, what we know so far is just that there isn't that level of control over this tool. And I think they need to get that control.
Yeah, well, especially given that one of lawmakers' biggest concerns about TikTok is kind of this question of influencing American discourse, given how popular the app is. Can you tell us a little bit about why people are so concerned about that right now?
Recommendations algorithms are really complicated. And this is a conversation that we've had about Facebook, about Twitter, about YouTube. It is easy for a slight change in how those platforms' feeds work to privilege some conversations over other conversations in a way that can move politics. We've seen this with sort of radicalization and filter bubbles on Facebook, on YouTube. And there is a fear that could happen at TikTok. But there's sort of another layer of geopolitics that's layered on top of what we worry about with these domestic platforms, because it would be very easy for someone inside ByteDance, perhaps at the behest of a government that has control over them, to turn a few knobs, so to speak, and slightly change what the algorithm looks like or how it treats certain conversations, certain political conversations. And again, that's not something that's unique to TikTok, but it is a major concern about TikTok, especially given how opaque TikTok and ByteDance's relationship to the TikTok recommendations algorithm is.
Right. And then you layer in heating on top of that kind of more general fear, and we're talking about a ready-made button to kind of push any piece of content that the company wants based on its business interests, whatever those are.
Yeah. And it seems like we have heard from employees that they have used this button to further business interests and partnerships with specific other companies, other brands. We haven't heard about it being used in a sort of political or geopolitical context yet, but it's absolutely something I would worry about if I were them.
Okay, so as a TikTok user, what does this mean for me when I'm scrolling through my For You page?
Well, given what we know about the prevalence of heated content, you've probably scrolled right past heated content on your For You page and you didn't know it was heated. And I don't know what has been heated. And TikTok isn't telling us what content they're boosting versus what content their algorithm thinks you as a user want to see. They could label that content in the future, and TikTok actually has sort of promised to explain more about why the content that is on your For You page has been selected for you. But we don't know yet whether they'll actually be transparent about the fact that they are heeding certain videos, though I hope they will. It would be a good feature.
Thank you so much for talking with us today, Emily.
Thanks so much.